Okay, good afternoon. I hope you're having a great time here at the conference. It's great to be back again. It's also great to see so many familiar faces. That means that business is running well, right? After 2 years, after these very difficult times that we had, that there is still business and IoT is growing. That's great. So my name is Tomaz. I come from the company Sensedge, and today I'd like to present you two really concrete use cases. How did we, together with our partners, bring value to the end customer? So it's supposed to be the last session here on this stage. And what they said, there's going to be beer afterwards, so we're going to make it short and sweet, if you all agree, right? And as concrete as possible. Also, if you have any questions at the end, just shoot, right? Or find me afterwards. But I'll try to make it more in pictures rather than a lot of text, right? Okay, so let's start. Perhaps just a couple of words about the company. So we started 4 years ago. As a startup, right, full of energy, yes, technology, yes, LoRaWAN, it's the best thing there on the market, right? It's going to be perfect. It's going to fly. And our focus at the beginning was to develop innovative IoT sensors. And we stick to that until now. But we are focusing more on really niche use cases. And normally we build these, let's say, solutions together with our partners. And they're very specific to the case, as we will see today as well. And part of our company also works on a, let's say, more high volume and high value sensors as well. So in addition to that, we also built a middleware platform, which enables to monitor sensors and their health. We can see more of these companies after 2 years. That's good. That means there are more deployments because you have to take care of your sensors, right? But it showed that it's a crucial part to build first use cases, to improve your hardware, so that's why it was a must. And our mission as a company is to build good use cases, use sustainable materials, and to be sustainable also from the energy perspective. And talking about sustainability, this was more or less this summer, right? So a lot of problems with water. And the reality is that agriculture is the main, let's say, cause as well as victim regarding the water scarcity. And it's because it consumes over 70% of all water sources. So it's quite demanding from that perspective. And from the money perspective, it's also costly because of the energy prices going up. That also means that the irrigation cost is going to go up. So, or even by the 2050, it is expected that 80% of the croplands will have problems like we did this summer. And the prices, as I said before, are expected to grow. So, and that really pushed IoT from what we saw in that very use case or in that space. And that was a base also for our customers to engage into or onto a journey that we build a solution together with our partners in different parts of the world, as we will see through the use cases. And we are showing now, also in the next step, we'll show how IoT brought that value to them. So we're going to start with this use case. It's an apple orchard, someone in Slovenia. And every great story starts with a person, right? So this is Adam. Adam is a 4th generation farmer in his family. And Adam is a very devoted farmer, right? He really likes his orchard. Like, look at the way he's touching his trees, right? He really likes it in a positive way. And He's a bit different than his neighbors and his friends. He likes technology. He also loves new stuff. He was the only one at the beginning who installed that net, right, to protect his crops or his harvest from hail. And everybody said, well, it's a bit risky, it's expensive, I don't believe that's going to work. But guess who was laughing at the end when the hail came, right, and cut the 50% of the crops? He was very happy about his decision. And he's also the main character in our story as well, because he was willing to try a new technology. He was willing to try IoT. So this is his farm, right? It's Ivanovci in Slovenia. It's a beautiful place. You should visit us sometime. And to take a look at the farm through numbers, he has 6 hectares of apple orchards. He produces 330 tons of apples per year, and he uses 66 cubic meters of water per cycle. So he was normally irrigating every second day. So that was based on schedule, no measurements, okay? Because the consultant at the local agriculture hub said, okay, you should do like this is the best for you, and so on. Okay, so these are his apples when they're beautiful just before being picked up, and that's how they look like when he put it in a truck and takes it to the nearest store, fresh and sweet for the customers. Okay, so how did our journey started? So he was very concerned about high cost of his irrigation system, and also that relates to consumption of water and also energy to run this system. He had a lot of problems also mainly inspecting the irrigation system. He put a lot of money into the irrigation system, and he was quite concerned about it, and it did not always perform optimally, right? And surprisingly, even though spending a lot of money on the irrigation system itself and running costs, he still had problems with overwatering and underwatering. So the specifics of the land that we see across the world is that within one farm you can have really different type of ground. Some are more porous, some are less. In both cases, the result is the same. You're killing the tree, right? If it's too much water, you're killing it. If it's drought, you're killing it as well. So you need a feedback loop. So we said, okay, we can help, right? We can help. We had a really nice project at the time. It was a European Union supported project. We said, okay, it's a wonderful use case. Let's go for it. So we did, right? So we put a box of sensors on a pickup truck, and then we went to the apple orchard. We set up some sensors. There was already existing weather station that we just used data from there. And we went to the orchard with this little tractor. And in the orchard, we held them, like hands-on, to make drills, 30 of them, just one part of the orchard. That was a start, right? So we used 30 soil moisture sensors into the ground, around 30 to 40 centimeters. We did some protection here, you see, to prevent his father to cutting it with a lawnmower. And then we place it on the pole like this, right? So the reception was great. Everybody's happy, right? And we also placed 10 sensors for microclimate. We have a really good use cases in Australia where we actually help with the active frost protection or reducing the cost of active frost protection. That means sprinkling the crops or the trees to prevent from frost in spring. And we said, okay, that should be also interesting use case for here. And they said, yeah, we have the same problem. We have to use this water. It's a big pond, and they use all the water within 1 to 2 hours. So it's also part of the solution. Okay, so we placed that. We put one gateway on the top of the house. We use TTI. It works perfectly, right? Hand in glove. And so Adam had a problem before because he was part of some European project. They get an access to a platform, and he was not very glad or was not happy with it. He said, okay, it's too complicated. And that one actually is ours, and it looks also complicated, I admit. But actually, when we showed him that platform, he said, okay, this is exactly what I need. The basic information, the locations, and the values, that's all I need. And we also made him a responsive digest in where he can see also all the information on his mobile phone. So how did that project end up, or how this project is going on? Let's have a look. So working together with this agriculture hub, which is let's say like an agriculture hub that introduces technology to farmers, that was a crucial part of our collaboration, right? So you need, if you're a tech guy, you understand IoT, or if you're a business guy, you need a translation towards your customer. You have to understand, you have to speak the same language. Being technological guy or technological bunch of guys would say, okay, let's make everything automatic, right? Automatic response, and we irrigate, and then there's gonna be some measurements, and the irrigation is gonna be adopted accordingly. That doesn't work in a, let's say, in a branch or in an industry that is as traditional as agriculture. They have to understand, they have been doing this on the rule of thumb for hundreds of years, right? So they have to understand the process, they have to adopt the technology. And that was a crucial part of success in our case as well. So they were looking at the information, adopting their behavior, and prolonging the periods between the irrigation. If the usual stuff was, let's say, every second day, now he started to prolong every third day because he had information how moist the floor is. And he saw, okay, I don't need to irrigate at all. It's good enough, right? And also in some locations, he said, okay, I don't need to irrigate for a week because it's moist enough. So that resulted in both savings in fuel and energy. He saved a lot of time with inspecting where there are faults in irrigation system. So he would see, okay, somewhere it's not irrigating, let's go there, let's fix the irrigation system. And a bottom line, reduction of the the savings on the irrigation side. But that's just the start. That was the first year, actually, when he was still learning and examining the data. So, but the biggest result was we built a lighthouse. We didn't even know that because all the neighbors came and called the local agricultural hub and say, hey, I want that as well. So they came to us with a big order and covered the entire region, saying, okay, we want this, we're gonna put some gateways up, set up the same system, give the same insights to those guys as well. It's word by word, so mouth by mouth, how the good news expand, right? So it's a great use case, and one is that you work very closely with people that understand the industry, how to implement new technology, how to drive them into innovation, and of course that means you cannot work alone. So that is the first case, and if we move to another one, that one is a bit far from here. It's in Sydney, and it's a Sydney Olympic Park. It's a very interesting use case, a bit more intensive when it comes from deployment of sensors. So Sydney Olympic Park is right there, and if we take a closer look at the Sydney Park through numbers, it's 40 hectares of areas. It accepts 1.5 million visitors per year, and they spend 6 million Aussies per year for irrigation. So you can imagine where the pain comes from, right? So it's these 6 million Aussies. And extension of that, from the municipality point of view, they really wanted to ensure safe environment for their citizens, so that thermal comfort in parks would be better. It was a project called Simpact, and again, we work in collaboration with our partners in Australia together with, so it's ARCS Group company. We work with University of Technology in Sydney, and with Municipality Sydney. So how the solution looks like, right? So our partner set up the gateways. In total, it was only 3 gateways. We provided sensors for microclimate, so we used Sensedge to be somewhere in the, between in the trees to measure microclimates, so temperature, relative humidity, air pressure, all the parameters that are essential to measure or to predict, calculate thermal comfort in cities. Very, very similar to the case that we saw before regarding the active frost protection. And the other important part is we put 200 soil moisture sensors into the ground. And we did it quite differently that you saw before in the previous slides. We actually put the entire sensor into the ground. So that means that there was some guy, installation guy, making a hole, put that casing inside the hole, putting Sensedge inside, put the probe into soil, cover it up with that green top, and put 10 to 15 centimeters of soil on top. 200 sensors throughout the Sydney Olympic Park, and they work. So we are quite proud of this. It's really great technology, so working hand in hand, LoRaWAN and this technology, so we're really, really happy about it. So they are as well our partners. So all the data goes to the platform from our partners, ARCS Group. It's called MeshNet Vision, the platform, where they first monitor all the data. So they capture all the data regarding the sensors, so relative humidity of air temperature, relative pressure, relative humidity, air pressure, as well as soil moisture. And also they have some other sensors like presence and so on. And they gather this data, they pass it to scientists at the UTS, as well as UTS presents this data in a form of results, insights, and pass it to the citizens. So it's a whole ecosystem within this interesting project. So what are the benefits? The project just started a couple of months ago, and the target for reduction is going from 6 million Aussies to 1 million Aussies for the irrigation. And to provide a better comfort, thermal comfort in parks as well. So there are like 2 concrete goals, and of course possibility to expand these zones, comfortable zones in the city. Again, it's a joint project. So the crucial part in this is an ecosystem of partners going from sensors, going to platforms, network server provider, gateways, and to the end customer. So if you're interested about the project, our colleagues from Australia prepared a really nice video about it. It's called, so as I said before, Simpact, and they made a really nice contribution, so you can also follow it there. We have also a couple of other use cases that are very interesting in agriculture, also in industry. And if you're interested in use cases such as this one, please come to me after the presentation, or one of my colleagues that are with me today and tomorrow as well, and we can talk about it. Maybe we can also discuss in more details about these projects. In the beginning, I mentioned that we are present in different verticals. So it's agriculture, it's city, industry, and now, based on a lot of demand, we are also entering into the space of buildings. So in the last half a year, we heard a lot about energy crisis, right? So the prices are just going up, and the thermal comfort in buildings is getting to be like lower because we have to save some energy. So the crucial part there is to monitor temperature, relative humidity, and to put the ventilation down to the levels that is still comfortable. So you would see also, when you walk through all the booths, you would see more vendors offering CO2, VOC, so indoor air quality solutions, because, yeah, the market is there. And where is the market is also Sensemo. So today, we are actually announcing exclusively that we are starting a new product. It's called SensePack. It's an indoor air quality. It has CO2 and VOC in the same casing. It uses PV and supercap, so it doesn't need any maintenance at all for 10 years. So it's more eco-friendly solution, and importantly, as said before, it can be also shipped easier, as we heard today from our colleagues and in the discussions. So at this point, I would like to sum up. As I said, I'm going to be short and sweet. I can still leave some minutes to the discussion or questions from your side. So, as it says, over to you. Thank you. So are there any questions, perhaps? Yeah, sure.
I was wondering, how did you power those soil moisture sensors that you put on the ground?
So, okay, thank you. So our sensors, in that case, use 2 AAA batteries, alkaline industrial ones. And depending, of course, on the circumstances and the signals, they should live up to 7 years. Thank you.
I was wondering about like the maintenance of these things, but if they last so long, it's manageable.
Yeah, of course. It's the most important thing, right? It's quite expensive to dig them up, right? So the most expensive part, almost, yeah. Thank you. Okay, so thank you all. Enjoy your afternoon. See you over a beer. Bye.
Are you trying to hide that you're down? But I love, 'cause I can see it in your frown.